Hey everybody, what up? All right, so I wanted to see what it would take to actually create my own cursor, and the reason why is cursor pissed me off when their pricing model changed, and I think I did probably what other thousands of other programmers have done, and it's that okay, I don't need you. Let me see what I can do to live my life without you, and but the problem is I do kind of need cursor. I'm sort of addicted to it, like we're all addicted to it, like we're addicted to crack or something. There is something about the fact that you feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses. You have to use these tools to the best of your ability. You're going to have to vibe code sometimes. And it's also good just to simply have an AI bot at your side, like to rubber duck, debug, and all that. Bottom line, I was like, what would it take to clone VS Code myself just the same way the cursor did and put some LLM models behind this thing in a chat window and all this? I originally did the extension that I showed in the previous videos, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to take that a step further. I'm just going to clone the entire VS Code project because that's what Cursor did. And the reason why is that a lot of the products out there have taken the shortcut of doing an extension, and the fact of the matter is that the extension is a much more sandboxed environment within VS Code versus actually cloning the project and having access to the core of VS Code itself. So that said, that's what we're looking at here. This is a basic Express app, and you're going to see that there are all these different agent models that you can choose, like Claude, Grok, whatever. This is a bring your own key thing. So like I want to just simply pay those providers directly and interface to them directly. So I created a tool to do that. But this video specifically is going to say, how well can we do a local LLM? So I'm running a 4080 NVIDIA RTX or something, a 4080. A relatively modern graphics card, but it's already a couple years out of date. So we're running the 14 billion model of Quinn Coder. Now at the time of this video, I'm running 2.5 Quinn Coder because the 3.0 that just came out and I was excited to try, there is a bug with Ollama that it's not returning tasks. And when you go down this rabbit hole, you'll soon discover that really like the way Cursor works and the way all of this LLM and agentic AI and all these other buzzwords that you have, it's really just a complex wrapper around these LLMs to basically instruct it how to behave when it hallucinates or does things that it's not supposed to do, which is pretty much all the time. That's also the name of the game with these large cloud computing companies, but they have tremendous resources in order to continue to train the models to get them better, and also to simply have a humongous RAG layer on top of their stuff, which is what I imagine their moat is ultimately behind the scenes. So anyway, these settings here, and I'll show you that they're actually not running. So I have a setting in here that I can disable my cloud providers. So a few other things I added in here, I actually put in here that there's like a rate limiting. So I quickly discovered, even with an OpenAI like API key, that you can easily get throttled by them. So all of these providers throttle you, and that's stuff that I was trying to work around. So basically I have a bunch of different settings in here, but this is debug. So Hawker local first debug, and it's basically disabling the cloud provider. So if I look at these settings, it'll say force local only, and this is so I can actually debug how the local LLMs are doing. So anyway, all that said, I'll also show you the resources running on my machine. You can see that this thing is maxed out. So running VS Code locally, the fork copy, it's built on Electron, and it's extremely memory. It's a memory pig, and the end products are as well, whether it's Slack or something like that. But anyway, you can see I'm using a ton of memory, but you'll see the GPU will spike as we start using these local LLMs. But anyway, so I tried a bunch of different LLMs to see what the results were, and they were all painful. I tried Mistral, I tried Llama 3, and then I tried Microsoft's new one, which is only like 14, or I don't know, it's small, but it's whatever Microsoft's 1.5 something or another is not very good, in my opinion. At least I struggle with it. I'm sure it does some things well. And then again, you can see the GPU here is just kind of chilling. Behind the scenes, there is work being done in this editor where it's like trying to parse your code and everything to make it more efficient, because I actually did realize that that was something that Cursor does quite well as far as vectorizing and symbolizing your entire code base in order to make things a little quicker. Also keeping track of your chat history and things. I'm staving to a SQLite database. And all that said, so these settings are all disabled. And let's go ahead and just go into the example here. So we'll say hi. And by the way, the code name for this project that I'm working on is called Hawker because why not? But anyway, you'll see though that this thing is slow. So I'm running the 14 billion token version of Quencoder 2.5. So you can see that GPU spiked when it was actually calling the LLM. So there is going to be some trade-off when you're using local LLMs that they're going to be slower than other cloud-based providers, even when you consider network latency and all that stuff. So anyway, here I could see this bot responded to me. What is your name? And this is all basic stuff, right? So like a lot of people are like, oh, it's so cool. Look at this, it's a robot. No, it's just an LLM. But anyway, you can see my name is Hawker. And why did it say that? Because I instructed it. That's part of the RAG layer that I'm talking about. Like all you got to do is say, hey, you are this when you respond. But I could say, is your LLM model Quinn coder? So you'll see, no, he's not. So it does give you unpredictable results sometimes. So it's like, are you trained on Quinn coder? I don't even know how to get this thing to respond. Or is it called Quinn code? Fuck. Now I can't even confuse this thing. All right. But is your LLM model Quinn coder? And I keep saying coder. Maybe that's why it doesn't know. No, my underlying language model is not Quinn coder. I base different models to assist with coding development. Jesus. All right. I'll try one that worked previously. All right, so now it finally answered the real question. But anyway, you can see that it's spiking my GPU because this is a local running LLM. Very interesting, though. This actually was a little bit more difficult to trick than before. Quinn coder is definitely impressive, I would say. But anyway, all right, that all said, so I could start asking, like, what is this code doing? And we'll look for the spikes in the GPU here once it responds. So you can see a big, huge spike in the GPU there. So this is where I don't like where it says, hello, to provide an explanation of the code, I'll need to take a look at its contents. And I'll say, I mean, I could attach this to my chat. All right, well, anyway, this thing's not, it's a terrible demo. It's interesting that this thing is very unpredictable, honestly, because before I did this video, I was like, oh, look at this. This is doing what I wanted to do. Anyway, here's a big spike of the GPU where you can see it was reading the file. So it's pretty cool. So basically, Quencoder local LLM, like you're not alone anymore when it comes to like coding if you don't want to be. So these local LLMs are getting better. Now they clearly still can't compete with GPT or anything like that, any of the cloud stuff, but it's still nice to know that you can talk to these things and have it help you somewhat and still kind of rubber duck debug without having to pay anything. All right, so let's ask it to do something like create a text file that says hello world. Name the file hello.txt. So now what I'm doing is I'm instructing this thing to do tasks. So behind the scenes, I've had to do a RAG layer, which tells it to do a bunch of different things. So it'll pick up on the fact that like, oh, this is wanting me to create something, so I'm going to respond in that way. It put it in the app.js folder. That's probably a bug. Most of the time people wouldn't want it there. They probably want it in the root unless they said otherwise. But anyway, this thing's obviously not going to be perfect. I can ask it to change code in the file. So like change, but you have to be pretty specific though, because otherwise it will start to make mistakes pretty easily. Change the constant port variable to be 3000. Yeah. So I'll see if that actually did work. Nice. So yeah, that's nice. I didn't expect that to work actually. So I can either accept or reject this change. And again, this is all local. So here you can see the spike in the GPU again. Maybe Cursor is in trouble, honestly. That's what this is all about, honestly. I want to, if I can figure this stuff out, then Cursor, then other people can as well. And, ultimately, anybody that wants to cut our jobs in this industry, yeah, I think if you're a real coder, you can cause some serious damage with these tools and in regards to like building competitor products, right? So Cursor has hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. What they can do very well is they can actually negotiate with all these different cloud LLM companies and get discounted resources for especially buying like 3 years at a time, right? That's how a lot of these companies will do it. It's like, I'll buy this amount of resources, give you millions of dollars right now, and lock this up for the next 3 years, right? And everybody's in hyper growth mode. So it's like, oh, okay, let's take the money now and keep growing and we'll be able to pay it off later. Kind of like how we rack up credit cards and always think that we'll just pay them off next month. So anyway, all that said, this is actually much more impressive when you're using the different cloud-based models because they also have vision. And I created the ability to attach images here. And I can even like drag and drop files and stuff. Now, clearly the UI is not there, but when you fork a VS Code project, you have much more creativity and options available to do these types of things. So everybody that says like Klein or Rue or the thing that got built off of Rue or even Aider or whatever it is, which is just console, I think people are going to want their graphical user interface and the ability to roll your own local LLMs plus have a cloud provider. It's going to take a pretty large RAG layer because like I wrote a lot of code in order to do this actually behind the scenes. There's a ton. But it is certainly possible. So all that said, I wonder if I should, I mean, this thing could easily fall on its face. So like if I were to, let's break it real quick. I'll just show you that the thing's not perfect because of the RAG layer. So if I ask it to make like another route, it'll probably fail. So let's just say, please, I'll be pretty specific too. Follow the examples of the other routes in the app.js file. I want to add a new route that is called FAQ. Please create that route. So this is probably going to fail. See, that's actually where it failed. So it completely screwed things up there. So that's what I'm saying about the RAG layer. And right now the editing of the code itself is very problematic here. So you can see it did put the FAQ in there, but it completely screwed it up. It also provided a bad diff file to the diff tool that is actually responsible for showing what has changed and what is and what you can accept and reject. So this is a large bug, but again, this is how Cursor actually works as well. Like, number one, the cloud provider wouldn't have screwed this up, but your local LLM is definitely at risk of screwing these things up pretty easily. And that's ultimately why I think that other open source project called Void kind of disbanded it, because like their main push was like, oh, just use your local LLMs. But the fact of the matter is like, you're still going to save a lot of money being able to roll your own, bring your own key. And your costs with doing business with ChatGPT directly or Gemini or Grok or any of these other ones you want to do, Claude, is going to be much cheaper than if you're paying a third party like Cursor. Another thing is Cursor's RAG layer is extremely problematic at times. Like it will go and make 25 requests in a matter of a few seconds sometimes, and like next thing you know, you just got charged like 50 cents, and like sometimes you may not want that, but ultimately you're going to need a tool that is going to allow you to configure it in the way that you want, and that means like rate limiting. It means distributing the load. You could have one cloud provider actually, like I said, symbolizing and indexing your code base behind the scenes, while another one is like the one that handles your code diffs, like Claude or something that's going to do a better job at that. There's all kinds of different possibilities with something like this, and ultimately this is the direction that we need to go to put the power back into the programmer's hands and away from all of these, really all of these companies that want to take your job or send them overseas or replace it with AI. Anyway, that's all I got for right now, but everybody, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye. All right, everybody, check out my video game, King Crab VR. Created it over a 2-year period of time, a little side project. I'm glad I pulled it off. It's going to be releasing in basically November. And I haven't put an official date on that, but anyway, that's the plan here. So it's pretty much done. Then also check out my website if you're interested, codehawk.com, and I have just more information and things in regards to what I do there. So everybody have a good day. Talk to you soon. Bye.